Chinese food has been a staple in American culture for over a century, but here's the truth. A lot of what you think is Chinese isn't even close. And the best part is, once Chinese Americans realized how much Americans love these dishes, they made a very smart decision. They said, we're not correcting anybody, because at the end of the day, this wasn't confusion, this was strategy. Chinese immigrants had a unique ability wherever they went. Whether it was America, Canada, or Europe, they paid attention to what people liked, and they built menus around that. They didn't forget their own food, they just adapted it to match the appetite of the people around them, and it worked perfectly. So today, we're exposing 10 foods that are labeled Chinese, but if you brought them to China, they would look at you and say, "We've never seen this before in our lives." Lo Mein's journey in America started with a bold shift. In China, noodles were tossed lightly, but by 1932, San Francisco's Lee's Chinese restaurant was advertising lo mein drenched in thick, sweetened sauce, noodles pre-cooked for speed, sauce clinging to every strand, vegetables piled high. This was no accident. Restaurateurs like Lee's adapted quickly, sweetening sauces and bulking up portions to match local cravings and keep up with the rush of takeout orders. Fried rice followed a similar path. The original, dating back to the Sui dynasty, was a simple way to use leftover rice with a hint of soy and wok hei. But by 1915, New York menus listed fried rice loaded with peas, carrots, and sometimes ham. The soy sauce dialed up for a punchier taste. Using day-old rice wasn't just thrift, it was survival, a cost cutter that became tradition in Chinese-American kitchens. EGG rolls completed the trio. Inspired by spring rolls, the American version debuted in the 1930s in New York. Thick, egg-washed wrappers, cabbage and pork inside, deep-fried until golden. Chungking's 1932 ad called them crispy golden, a new icon made for quick bites and big crowds. Kung Pao chicken started as a fiery Sichuan classic, diced chicken, peanuts, dried chilies, and a jolt of Sichuan peppercorns that made your mouth tingle. The original recipe, recorded in an 18th century Sichuan cookbook from 1766, was all about heat and that signature numbing spice. But when Kung Pao landed on American menus, it got a major makeover. A 1964 Los Angeles menu described the dish with a glossy sweet soy glaze and, crucially, no peppercorns. The numbing heat was swapped for a mild, sugary sauce. Why? Because most American diners weren't looking for a tongue-numbing punch. They wanted something bold, but approachable. Chefs like Ming Tsai have pointed out how the American palate pushed for sweeter, thicker, and less spicy versions. The swap wasn't about losing flavor, it was about reading the room and keeping customers coming back. The same playbook hit vegetables. In China, beef stir-fries paired with gai lan, a bitter, leafy green. But by the 1930s, Chinese-American chefs faced a problem. Gai lan was hard to find and expensive. Broccoli, on the other hand, was everywhere and cheap. The 1931 Port Arthur menu in New York listed beef with broccoli, making the switch official. Broccoli's mild flavor and crisp texture made it a hit. Cooks could serve up a dish that looked familiar to Americans, kept costs down, and still honored the stir-fry technique. These ingredient swaps weren't mistakes, they were clever moves that helped Chinese restaurants thrive. Each change reveals just how tuned in these chefs were to their new home and how American Chinese food became its own, ever-evolving tradition. Orange chicken wasn't passed down through generations, it was built for profit in a California mall. In 1987, Andy Cao at Panda Express crafted battered, deep-fried chicken coated in a sticky orange glaze, perfectly tuned to American cravings for sweet and fried. The gamble worked. Within a year, orange chicken made up almost a third of sales, and a company memo celebrated 40% profit margin. There's no ancient recipe here, just a nod to Cantonese citrus chicken, sharpened for the food court. Crab Rangoon took the formula even further. Trader Vic's, a Polynesian-themed bar, introduced these cream cheese and canned crab dumplings in the 1950s, branding them Peking style on a 1954 menu. Cream cheese isn't Chinese and Rangoon is Burmese. Both dishes were engineered for maximum appeal, salty, sweet, fried, and irresistibly lucrative. Chop suey's legend begins with a railroad camp cook in the 1880s, tossing scraps together for workers. No diary or menu confirms it, but by 1895, San Francisco restaurants were serving chop suey, its name meaning mixed bits. The dish thrived as a way to stretch leftovers, quickly becoming a symbol of Chinese-American resourcefulness. General Tso's chicken, unknown in China before the 20th century, was reimagined in New York by chef Peng Changquei in the early 1970s. His sweet, crispy version took off, boosting sales by 25% wherever it appeared. Fortune cookies, often seen as the ultimate Chinese dessert, actually started with Makoto Hagiwara, a Japanese immigrant, in 1907 San Francisco. By 1942, a Los Angeles ad rebranded them as a Chinese treat. Each dish adapts, reinvents, and survives. Chinese-American food isn't a mistake, it's a masterclass in adaptation. Every menu is proof. Getting it right means evolving. That ingenuity still shapes what lands on our plates today. What surprised you most?